to FemVids Ultimo, your guide to what's happened in the last month for Feminine Pacific. I'm Alicia Evans.
And I'm Sian Rawls.
And first to the August events. The Free and Equal campaign was launched on the 5th Ultimo and was launched in Fiji by the President Ratu Epeli Nalatikau.
It was a historic step for the UN towards the protection of human rights of persons of diverse sexual orientation and gender identity and expression, with the launch being the start of the regional campaign against homophobia and transphobia. The initiative, which is a spin-off of the global United Nations Free and Equal campaign led by the UN Human Rights Office, was a joint effort of a number of organizations.
However, interesting to note that despite efforts in July to educate the media about SOGI-sensitive reporting, Who Makes the News has seen several missteps, inappropriate gender identification, and no particular increase in the coverage or reporting of issues relating to the LGBT community.
In other events, International Youth Day was particularly marked in Suva on the 12th of August. The internationally recognized day this year stood to recognize and promote youth civic engagement as essential to achieve sustainable human development.
International Youth Day coincided with Feminine Pacific's own Young Women's Media Learning Exchange, particularly aimed at promoting and educating young women in all their diversities in the use of community media for peace.
The young women attending reflected on experiences of the May 2000 crisis as a way not only to contextualize some of the human insecurities they and their communities face now, but also as Femlink gears up to her 15th birthday, with the events of May 2000 and the Blue Ribbon Peace Vigils being instrumental of the formation of Femlink Pacific as an organization.
The young women's training was then followed by communications training and sharing by the 9 contestants of the Andi Sanikau pageant, in collaboration with the House of Chameleon. The young trans women wove messages of personal experience and advocacy, and you can find the produced videos on our YouTube channel as well.
Speaking of produced videos, we had our last of 3 rounds of television production of Radio with Pictures. Wrapping up with the Central Division, it marked the end of the production of 18 episodes to air on MyTV and appear later on our YouTube channel.
Lastly, in events, I attended a panel on SRHR in the Pacific at the USP. The panelists talked about the need for there to be greater access to information, particularly in terms of holding states, civil society and other non-state actors accountable for the implementation and delivery of SRHR services, the need for there to be greater data collection and analysis on SRHR in Fiji, to the dissemination of SRHR information and education to the public.
Overall, there needs to be greater collaboration between all relevant stakeholders before sexual reproductive health and rights can be fully realized across the Pacific. While governments have played an important role in terms of opening up spaces in the international level on the importance of SRHR in the wider human rights context, more work needs to be done at the local and national level to ensure that the gains made in these spaces are followed through in terms of the implementation of SRHR in Fiji to ensure that women are not discriminated against.
Turning to weather now. The continued dry spell in Fiji continues, with the National Disaster Management Office having its resources run dry after attempting to deal with the situation.
Fiji's Prime Minister did approve additional funds to assist with relief efforts, but yet no word on how the NDMO will be going forward to ensure that countermeasures are in place to prevent the situation getting to the state it currently is now in most areas of Fiji.
In other parts of the Pacific, Papua New Guinea also has been facing some particularly dry conditions. PNG has reported droughts and frosts damaging crops and affecting water supplies to the areas.
And on that cheerful note, we turn to the results of the Women's Human Security First Report, Ultimo.
In August, across the 7 pillars of human security, the most common priority was environmental security, with 4 of our focal points raising this as a major issue, followed by economic, food and community security from 3 focal points. Political security from 2 focal points, and personal and health security was being identified as a major concern by women leaders from Nausori and Tavua Rakiraki respectively.
Recommendations by the women included an increase in women's representation in local governance structures, increased engagement with local government officials, and better access to financial institutions and increased financial literacy training.
Those findings, along with the findings from September and October, will feature in the next quarterly edition of the Women's Human Security First Report.
However, if you want to find out about the second quarter of this year, that report is already available online. Additionally, if you're a member of Fiji's cabinet, the leader of the opposition, or a head of the NFP, you were sent one on the last Friday, Ultimo. You're welcome.
So that's at a national level here in Fiji, at the hub of our regional policy and media network. But don't forget, our networks extend to PNG, Solomon Islands, Bougainville, Vanuatu, Mohinui, the RMI and Tonga.
This episode of FemVids Ultimo, we feature a little story out of the Solomon Islands, courtesy of Voice Blong Mere Solomons and the team out there. If you follow us on Facebook, you've probably already seen the update, but the story is about the Rokatani Keni Women's Savings Club.
Founded in 1999, the club now has 1,000 financial members and caters to needs of women in their communities in the Solomons, like organic farming, leadership training, leadership development, business development, microfinance activities, cooking, sewing, baking, and health and nutrition talks.
So give us a like on Facebook and check out the story in the link below if you want to see how women are empowering women in the Solomon Islands.
The story will also soon be featured as a podcast online and on FemTalk 89 FM. So don't forget to follow us for stories about women, by women, from the mat to the policy table.
The story was timely indeed, particularly given the sheer number of stories that have been making the mainstream news, particularly the Fiji Times, that glaze over women's access to the formal economy, not to mention their role in agriculture.
In fact, of the 114 stories that made the 20 separate episodes of Who Makes the News Ultimo, 54 were written by female journalists and 54 featuring women primarily drawn from the Fiji Times. The biggest noted gap was, indeed, women in agriculture. If you don't catch Who Makes the News when it is on air, you can always give it a listen on our Mixcloud account.
A lot of what we've talked about here on FemVids Ultimo can be found on our Facebook page. We also have our community radio station, FemTalk 89 FM. You can tune into our Suva station if you're between Nausori and Navua, and our Lambasa station in a 10-kilometer radius from Lambasa town.
If you aren't in any of these places on a regular basis, you can always check our Mixcloud account, as previously mentioned, where all our programs from our community radio stations are podcasted, so you can hear women speaking to women for peace wherever you are.
And this has been FemVids Ultimo. I'm Sean Rolls.
And I'm Alicia Evans. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.